Greetings, everybody. I've got a video for you today. A few months ago, I was transferring some tapes, and I came across a tape I'd never seen before. This one. It is of my own baby shower. And after transferring it, I noticed that it was a video created by my parents' old friends from back in the day with advice for the newborn baby. That's me. Intended for me to watch roughly 20 years later. Well, it's 24 years later. In fact, today is my birthday. So I thought today would be a perfect day to review the footage.
Go. Doing a scan. In the balloon. We got Vicky's parents. We got all the food over there. We got the baby. There it is.
There's me. Haha.
Oh. Hannah's date.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah. Hey, the rowdy crowd over there. Keep it down. Keep it down.
There's my family.
Hook, smile. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
That's my grandma.
As soon as you're old enough to play baseball, be sure your mom and dad get your tickets for the Cubs World Series games.
Excellent.
Apparently a lot of people predicted the 2016 Cubs World Series. Or almost predicted it, as the case may be in Back to the Future 2. Interesting, very interesting.
When you're old enough to understand, I want you to hang around Landon a lot, and I hope you grow up just like him, unless he's in jail right now.
He's not in jail, he's in Seattle. But I did see him and his fiancée Michelle last summer. They're going to be getting married soon. I believe their current plan is to do it in Long Beach, so I'll be getting to go to LA to go to their wedding, which is very nice. I'll be able to see some of my old college friends who have since gone out there and made their lives there.
We need advice for the baby.
Oh, I have advice. Is this for the baby or this is what, for in 20 years?
Oh, whatever.
Well, when I say 25 years, it's the same year. It's just that the year changed over.
Well, about 20 years would be right. In 20 years, it'll be time for you to get to work so you can support me because I'll be about ready to retire.
Okay, who even is this?
Advice for the baby?
Okay, I have some advice. A very wise
Is that
man
Larry?
once told me, drive fast and take chances.
There you go.
Okay, who started that? I still hear that said a lot, and I don't know who started it. Somebody in this video did. I just don't know who it is.
Oh, that's the spirit. Tim,
Yes.
do you have some advice for
Who's
the baby?
this?
Yes. Listen to your mom and dad and drink scotch.
I don't drink any alcohol, actually. That's just by my own choice. I just don't find it very tasty. I'll tell you this, though. My 21st birthday, 3 years ago today, it was snowing. There was a blizzard, and I couldn't go out. It was a Saturday, and I thought, oh, cool, my 21st birthday's on a Saturday. But it was a blizzard, and I couldn't go anywhere. We were stuck inside. So a few days later, it was Tuesday, and I went to Hangar 9 for karaoke like I always do. And that's when I thought, okay, now I'm going to have my first try of alcohol here. So I got a Busch Light. So I had that. I did not like it. I was like, oh, how do people drink this? Then my friend Brendan, who works at Hangar 9, sometimes he's behind the bar, sometimes he's elsewhere in the place, but he saw me and he said, I didn't picture you a beer drinker. And I said, I don't think I am because I don't like this. And he said, you should try starting with some cocktails, something fruity. That'll taste a lot better than beer, especially if you're an inexperienced alcohol drinker. So he recommended me some fruity cocktails. So when I do have alcohol, that's what I usually have. I'm usually the designated driver, so I don't drink alcohol very much.
Eddie, do you have any advice for the baby?
Keep it between the lines and obey speed limits.
Excellent. Thank you.
I've got a story for that. I've driven home in blizzards many times. I've done very long trips, once from Tulsa, once from Carbondale, where I ended up driving in a blizzard at night. And you couldn't see the lines in the road. So we were in the middle of the road, or rather, like, the person next to me was in the middle of the road, so I was being pushed off the road, and there's so much snow, we can't see the road. So I'm going about 30 miles an hour, but then this delivery truck, which is going almost the normal speed limit, So 60 something miles an hour flies by me, and I see he's in the middle of the road, and I say, I can't get over. There's no more room. I'm going to fall into the ditch if I go any further off the road. So he slides by me, and of course the wind does what wind does and pushed him into me, and he hit the side of the car, but all it did was fold in the mirror. Luckily, it was a car with folding mirrors. That's why I always recommend having cars with folding mirrors, because the mirrors are much less likely to break off if something hits it. No damage to the car, it just folded in the mirror. I just rolled down the window, pushed the mirror back out, and kept on going. Driving in blizzards is an interesting experience, to say the least.
Get over there, ditch the old man, ask somebody else, get some better advice. You definitely don't want to listen to that, that's for sure. Look at the kind of mess they got into, that's all I can tell you. All right, thank you.
His advice is don't listen to anybody else. Also, he looks like Will Ferrell with a beard. At that time, like in one of the SNL sketches of the day. James Lipton. When Will Ferrell played James Lipton, that's what he looks like.
Some advice for the baby.
There's my Uncle Mike. We haven't seen him in years.
No advice.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to any of Uncle Mike's advice based on where he ended up.
Grandpa's got to have some good advice.
Ah, there's my grandpa. He died 11 years ago now. So let's see what he has to say.
I don't have any good advice.
Come on.
Bad advice.
All your years of experience, what's the biggest lesson you've learned you need to pass on?
For what?
What's the biggest lesson you've
He was hard of
learned
hearing.
you want to pass on?
Save your money.
That's some pretty good advice.
Save money. Simple and elegant. I try to adopt the Mr. Roper philosophy of finance. You just save your money and try to avoid spending it at all costs. Or literal avoid cost at all costs. I don't know how to say it, but it's pretty basic advice from our grandpa there. And I still put out his Christmas lights every year. I'm going to show a picture of that right here. A picture of some of the Christmas light displays I've done, inspired by what my grandpa would do back in those days. Alright, back to the video.
That's some pretty good advice. Have you come up with anything?
If it grows up to be like their parents, it'll be all right.
I was just going to say that.
As my grandparents. I take a lot after Grandma Sis, I will say. I try to, anyway. The whole humor thing, a lot of my comedy instincts come from something I learned from Grandma Sis back in the day. More on that in another video.
Story about your dad. You know, when he tells you not to drink and drive and not to do this and not to do that, you need to ask him some real serious questions with a real straightforward face. And you need to ask him, you know, what is his association with motorcycles?
Motorcycles.
I think
we have 3 of them now. We have 3 of them now. None of them run.
these are all serious questions, and I think that the truth shall set you free. Thank you.
The truth shall set you free. Is he giving a speech?
Lovey, do you have some advice for
Interesting. I thought he was on camera this whole time. What is this?
the baby?
Yeah, I have a lot of advice for the baby.
Oh my god. I don't know how much of this is going to be good. Let's see.
So have them invest heavily in stock in your name. Get the car keys early and get the title of the Porsche transferred over to you.
Yeah, we sold the Porsche in 2013, so that's not around anymore.
That's about it.
All right. Do you have some advice for the
It
baby?
was right before. Let me tell you this. We sold the Porsche 3 months before I got my learner's permit to drive. Just missed it by that much. 3 months before I started driving.
Baby.
Hope to God you don't have any brothers or sisters.
I don't.
So you get all the money.
Woo! All right. Advice for the baby.
No advice.
Come on, you were
I don't know anything about kids.
you were a child at one point. You must have learned something in your years. Share it with the baby.
Be as spoiled as you can be.
Sounds like an army commercial. There you go.
No, I was going to say,
Take advice from your mother and not your father.
I mean, I don't know Don. I've known known Vicky for a long time. They're respectable people, follow in their footsteps.
They're like, only listen to one of the parents. Only listen to the other one. How about none of them? Nothing is said here is true. We've heard a lot of different opinions today from people who I don't recognize, either because they look very different now, or because they don't come around with us anymore. Or maybe I've seen them in Christmas cards, I do not know. But basically, I don't know the majority of these people, except for the family members.
What are you, mother material? Do you have some advice for the baby? For the baby.
Get your parents to take you back to Key West someday, because that's where they got married and it was wonderful.
We were going to do that last year. Last year would be last year was their 25th wedding anniversary. They were going to go to Key West, but they ended up not doing that. They ended up driving with our neighbors to Central Florida, where some of their relatives are. So basically my parents just tagged along on their vacation. There's my parents opening gifts. Everything is so nicely wrapped at baby showers. What is that?
First of all, you guys are spoiling this kid. Baby's not even here. We thought we bought a big enough house.
I should mention, they just moved about 4 or 5 weeks before this video was taken. Moved into the house where they still live today. So, this was like a very transitional period of time right here in the family.
Yes, we did. There's a lot of questions about the 9/11 status of hauling all this stuff.
Porsche 911. This was 1997. Porsche 911. And it was a 2-car garage, so the question was, where was it going to go for the winter? We ended up storing it in a storage facility on the edge of town. I remember as a child, every winter we'd have to take it over there and package it up, get it all wrapped up with the covers and everything. And then every spring we'd take it out again, and we'd bring it back to the garage, and my dad would park outside. But in the winter, he'd want to park inside, because it would get cold and things would freeze, This was before remote start. And so we wanted the 2-car garage to be open. Later on, we ended up adding on and building a 3rd stall onto the garage, so we never had to do that again.
Well, we'll find a way to work it out.
I'll store it for you. What about the... No. What about the train of Honda Accords heading back to Peru? You got how many?
We actually recruited...
A station wagon, and what else we
recruited heavier hauling vehicles than ours.
Back then, my parents both had Honda Accords, and we had this trailer. I think I have a picture over there. We had this small trailer that would go on the back of a Honda Accord to take large things. So we would just strap a bunch of boxes onto a flatbed trailer and haul it with a Honda Accord. Yes, we have a truck now, and it's better than that, I can tell you.
No, we didn't anticipate this much. You guys are very generous, and I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Alright, that's it. That's the whole video. Final reactions to it, well, a lot of those people, I'm not exactly sure who they were. I couldn't identify a lot of them, either because they look different now, or because I knew them in a different way than they appeared in this video, or majority of them we don't see them anymore, and we haven't seen for over 20 years. So this video was intended as a time capsule. It was lost for a long time. Very glad that I found it, though. Interesting advice from those people. A lot of it still applies today. Very interesting to see this video at a very transitional point in the family timeline, it would seem. So thank you for joining me in watching this time capsule video, and we're going to see you with another interesting thing some other time. We'll see you next time.